Welcome to my Instagram live show called The Third Phase. I am so glad you're here. I am Lori Carpenter, interior designer and founder of The Third Phase. I go live each and every Tuesday at 12:30 Central, talking with inspiring guests about things that are important to us in this third phase of our life. And if you're 60 plus, you may be like me, dealing with all of these aspects of this third phase, I should say. It may be things like your home, your busy home. It may be an aging parent or family member. We still have children and grandchildren. Some of them may still be at home. And we are juggling busy careers. It is challenging to say the least. But together, let's navigate this and let's figure out all the things that can help us live more vibrantly in this phase. So, today I have a very, very important guest with me that will help you with tips about how to maximize your return on investment on your vacation rentals. And her name is Jessica Duce. And so let's grab your lunch, grab a friend, and let's dive in. Let's invite Jessica on here. Well, hi Joanne, I see you're on here. There's Jessica. Let me get her on here. Joanne, I'm glad you're here. This is our phase. This is what we can do. Hey Jessica, how are
I'm
you?
good. How are you?
I am good. I am good. I am so glad you're here with us today, and we're going to discuss maximizing your return on investment with vacation rentals.
I love
You
that topic.
you are the queen. You are the queen of this,
I'll
and
take it.
I am so excited you're here because everyone that is even thinking about vacation rental. I've had a condo, and I really wished you had been around at that time to help guide me on that, because I did enjoy it, but it's challenging. It's very, very challenging, and I've learned a lot just listening to you. So, what what got you? What made you start this? What began this all for you?
I was asked to consult on a project. Hi, Robin. Hi, Leslie.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Hey, everyone.
I was asked to consult on a project, and I knew it was a vacation rental, and I literally had to Google what a VRBO was in 2015. I didn't know, and I just knew when I got to the project that it was sad. It didn't make me want to stay there. And so I shared that. I mean, in summary, my one job was to pick the flooring. And I got there and I'm like, flooring is not your biggest problem. It's this brown leather furniture in this beach house. Like, this makes zero sense. And they ended up hiring me, and I had the best owners to work for because I learned so much from them. And I fell in love with the design process. It's completely different than residential design. And it has completely changed since 2015. It's a completely different model, but I love it.
I can imagine. I probably had my rental probably about then.
Mm,
Maybe a little while after that, but anyway, yeah, I wish you'd been around then. Okay, let's get to the heart of the matter here. Return on investment. What design elements have you found to deliver the greatest impact in property and ability to command premium nightly rates?
oh boy, let's get right into the meat of
That's a
it.
long one.
That's a long one. I could barely remember how the sentence started. Okay, so the best return on investment for design elements. That's what you're asking, right?
Yes,
And
on a rental.
I have to be honest, this answer would have been different even a year ago. The business is constantly changing. And so right now, anything to do with an experience or a wow moment, outdoor amenities, those are really driving rental prices. and you're getting a higher top dollar. So a property that is kind of specifically themed. And that doesn't mean like bachelorette core that you're seeing everywhere where it's kind
Right.
of over the top and neon, which is really cute for some things. But
Right.
for those people, for a broader view, what that means is if you're in an area that is very golf centric, maybe you'd have amenities in the home that would really attract golfers. We just did a property in Bandon, Oregon, and we had dryers for gloves and shoes because it was an Oregon golf course community. And so all of their gear could be dried overnight for their next day of golf, things like that. So I would say
Great
anything to
idea.
do that's amenity driven or experience driven.
Very, very good. Very good. All right. On the flip side, what is some of the common mistakes that people make that maybe cause that hurts their rental or maybe even hurts the bottom line?
Yeah. I see my friend Wendy there. Hi, Wendy. Um,
Yes. Hey, and there's Susie. Hey, everyone.
hi.
Glad y'all are on
So
here.
honored.
Thank you.
Um, okay, so what is a bad decision? The decision that is made that I see the most, that is a terrible decision, is not really being concerned with your guest experience, even if it's not like driven to a theme. But for example, going on the cheap. So that cheap Wayfair furniture, I'm going to say the W word. No, it is
Mhm.
not a good choice. It's not going to last. It doesn't show well in pictures. It gives a cheap vibe when people arrive at the property. That market has changed. That ship has sailed. COVID killed it. You cannot fill a house with a bunch of cheap stuff. And you also need to really think about your guests. So when I look at pictures, when I'm asked to review people's listings, if I see a bedroom that has one nightstand and one lamp, and I know it's a king or a queen and potentially two people could be in that room, that's not appealing. And you can't do that anymore. You can't get by with that. You can't
No.
do a tiny little coffee table with a big sofa and a bunch of chairs for a house that sleeps 8 when there's only enough room for two people's glasses on the coffee table. You have to be better.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point. Okay. Let's see here. What is um, balancing style and practicality is a real challenge in this industry. How do you ensure a space is both aesthetically appealing and durable enough for frequent guest turnover?
Okay, wait. So how do I select things that are good for guest turnover and experience?
Well, really, it would be, that what's practical that will withstand, but for a lot of
Oh,
turnover.
sure. Okay. So that kind of goes back to that W word, that Wayfair word. But
Mhm.
so I say this, whether you're a residential designer or a vacation rental designer, your relationship or even a guest, or
Mhm.
excuse me, like somebody in third phase that maybe isn't a designer and is thinking about vacation rentals for them.
Right.
Brand relationships are huge. That is the biggest part of my business. So when I find a brand that I know cares about the quality of their furniture, I know it's going to have longevity, they have performance fabrics, they're going to have that same product that I am going to put in this home in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Those are the
Mhm.
things I look for, because what's different in vacation rental design as opposed to residential is we're creating this beautiful look, but gosh forbid, we may have to replace something, an accident happens or whatever. You never know, right? When
Right.
you're selecting everything from Wayfair or something like that, you cannot guarantee that that same sofa, even though it may have 5,000 reviews that it's great, you can't guarantee that you're going to get that exact same sofa in a year or 2 years. But if you go with your brand favorite, maybe it's Hooker, Classic Home, Universal Furniture, a brand that you've had success with, you know that they're going to give you a great product. They do have performance fabrics, which I look for, and they're going to have that again for you in 5 years when you need to replace it or change it or need help with it. That's what I say is
Yeah.
something I would look for in designing. Does that
No.
answer that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is a great. Um. Okay. Do you do any guest profiling? Factor of your design. Uh, identifying your target renter and things that that change the way you approach a project. Does that?
We do. Every single project, we do create a guest avatar. We work with a fabulous company called Data Led Designs, and they create a report. We tell them what we're looking for, what we need for that report. It could be based on the zip code, the region, the city in general, whatever it is.
Hmm.
And we're able to identify not only what our ideal guest avatar would be for this rental property, but what all the properties around us are making, positive and negative reviews over several years, what's missing in
Hmm.
the area, what activities happen throughout the year, where it's higher rentals, lower rentals. The amount of information we get is crucial to what we do. So with that, and creating that avatar, we get our best information for our clients.
Best return
Yeah, that's a big,
investment too, I can
that's
imagine.
a
Yeah,
big part of this. Is there is so much math before we even create the design board.
that's great.
Mhm.
That is wonderful. Can you share an example where a thoughtful design helped reposition a rental property to attract higher paying guests?
Um, well,
Use my cough.
yeah,
Uh,
I hate that when that happens.
oh, this weather.
Um, So we actually work on that for every project. That's why I kind of paused. So I'm going to use our Wimberley, Texas project for an example. And
Okay.
it was a beautiful home on 12 acres, hill country, and there wasn't really anything wrong with it. It just didn't have a wow. And the family that owned it, their dream and passion is that families, extended families, large groups could fall in love with this place the way they do and what they'd experienced in the past at other places. And it's called The Gathering. So we completely redesigned it, rebranded it, and designed it to be extended family friendly. And what that and we created an avatar for this. And what that meant to us was we added pickleball and disc golf and bocce ball and cornhole and a huge swimming pool and a huge fire pit and pavilion. And then we also remodeled and redesigned the inside. And we did it all with the idea that everywhere they went, a large group could gather. So our table sits 16 and the
Wow.
fire pit sits 16 to 20.
Uh-huh.
Everywhere you could gather. And with that theme that we carried through, with this extended family centric vibe, um, they're taking off. They're doing great. I had a call with them yesterday and they're thriving. And it was a
That is
vision that they wanted, but they didn't know how to get it.
right. That is
Very
fabulous. That's a
rewarding.
fabulous tip. Okay. From a practical standpoint here, what one design tip that can help a property owner increase their five-star review?
Um, let's see. Well, for the first thing is that they need to look at their pictures and take some of these tips and say, you know, when I have a picture of a room, is there one nightstand and one lamp? Like, we need to stop the scroll and we need to make it look inviting. So
Mhm.
that's a part of getting those 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
A lot of owners that I've worked with in the past, they don't they don't actually stay in the property and try to experience it as a guest. And I know this is going to sound really crazy, but we have
Yeah.
asked them to stay there and turn off all the lights and we've moved things around and say, you know, when a guest comes here, they don't know that the light switch over here always turns on and that the spoons are in this drawer and that you have adapted to just one lamp and this is what you do. And you need to experience it how a guest will. And if they come in and realize that they're not as adept to the space as they thought they would because it's experienced differently, they're a little more compassionate about the guest's needs. They forget.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. I wouldn't have thought of that. And mine, the one I had a condo in Orange Beach, and we stayed there. so I knew, and so that is a good point because I knew, like the window treatments, things like that, because you get that really bright morning sun if you want to sleep in,
Right.
things like that you need to know, because you don't know what your guests are coming there for. You would think the beach, but sometimes they want to sleep in too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, yeah. Okay. What maybe would be a few inexpensive, high impact changes a homeowner could make to refresh a tired, dated vacation home?
What are some basic changes? I mean,
Well, I would say a few inexpensive, but a high impact.
well, and this kind of goes back to your 5-star question.
Right.
Every guest wants a great sleep. So if you're going to focus on some areas when you have to kind of move the budget around, you need to make sure you have really good bedding, good mattresses, good pillows, pillow options. You can't just have, let's say you have a king bed, you can't just have 2 flat king pillows. Not everybody
Right.
sleeps that way. I need 2, 3 pillows at night. So you have to make sure you're giving them a good sleep experience. That would be my first tip for an investment.
Well, and I know another thing. I have been places and there's no blankets.
Yes.
You
And that's
know,
such a simple thing.
sometimes I like the little weight,
Yeah.
the weight of it, and some people don't. But, I think that's something that is important,
Hmm.
with the sleep.
Well,
But,
well, we associate the comfort of a blanket with hospitality and comfort in a space, right? So we're kind of blanket
right.
loco. We have blankets everywhere and in baskets, and pretty much every rental we do, you can find a blanket within steps of yourself. And I truly believe people associate that with comfort.
We have, oh, Robin said more towels. Don't just give me one towel.
Yes,
And I
Robin.
have seen that too. I've seen that too.
Like I tell owners this, you should have your rental the way you would want it as a guest, to expect it as a guest. And you're asking people to pay you to stay here, but you won't give them extra towels or better pillows, but you
Yeah.
expect them to pay you for this opportunity to be here at a lesser standard that you would take. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to spell up because they don't think about that.
Yeah. Well, or I have been places where it's like an afterthought. It looks like they're old towels, well, you don't want to go back there. That's not, we are at this stage that we want nicer
Oh yeah.
things. And as Robin said down there, even something as simple as toilet
Oh my.
paper, don't put the single ply.
No, I don't care what age you are. That should not
Yeah.
even be allowed. But I tell this to every single person. I don't care if you're a guest or designer, whatever. You have to leave a bad review. Don't send a message to the owner like, hey, you only gave us 1 towel for 6 people. Could you work on that? They're not going to change for the next guest. You have to leave a bad review. And there's this myth that if you leave a bad review, somehow you're punished in the Airbnb world. That is not true. The best thing you can do is leave a bad review so the owners can improve, and those that are working their butt off to provide a good stay are rewarded, and the people that aren't elevating like they should will either learn or not thrive. It's
Right.
really that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good point. A good point. Okay, let's see what else I have here. Okay, let's talk about location. Does a property setting like a mountain versus a beach cottage? Well, that's obvious. You already said that. It does affect the design. You don't want to put a mountain lodge look in a beach cottage. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that
And
pretty much takes care of
well,
that.
and this is another lesson. I had not thought about this till recently. We are working with an amazing family in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and they own a lot of rentals.
Mhm.
And she is slowly transforming them. And she said she didn't pick any of the selections, but most of the bedding has moose or bears on it, and that red and black kind of checked fabric. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
typical.
Mhm.
Well,
Lodge.
in Gatlinburg, there are no moose and there are no bear, but people associate that with
Uh-huh.
this mountain vibe. So let go of the themes and just make it beautiful.
Good idea. Good idea. Good point. Okay, as we look toward the future of short-term rental market, how do you see design strategies evolving? What about incorporating accessible features? Are you seeing more of that for our aging
Oh
renters?
my gosh, I'm so glad you asked me about this. So I'm a huge fan of Lorraine Woodward, and she
Yes.
has a company called Rentable. And we are
Uh-huh.
working together. Let's see, here's my little summit pin.
Yes.
We,
Yes. Oh, I've got to sign up for
yes,
the summit.
Lorraine will be at the summit.
Oh, good.
And
Good.
Expedia, who also owns VRBO, they have
Mm-hmm.
partnered with Lorraine and they are changing the rental market world one by one. And they are highly focused on adding more aging in place, rent able, accessible, sensory, everything you can imagine elements to vacation rentals. So that, to
Very
quote my
nice.
dear friend Erica, every body can have a place to stay. And Lorraine inspired me at our first summit.
Uh-huh.
And so that property I told you about, the gathering, where we made it very family friendly, that was the first vacation rental I ever did where we added a fully handicap accessible bedroom. And it's an handicap accessible property. And now they are adding
Okay.
a sensory garden so that they can add to the scale of guests that would potentially want to rent this place for different challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that was inspired by Lorraine. So where I'm going with this is that the education around aging in place and handicap accessible is finally getting noticed by the big guys, VRBO in particular. And you know, every place should adapt to this in some way if they can. But we're
Right.
doing it.
Very good. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear that. I am. That's something that we have not
Right.
seen that. We just, you know, and a lot of times when you do go to something that is handicap accessible, think about it. If you're not handicapped, I still want it to look
Right.
pretty. I don't want stuck in that room with that ugly silver bar. I want something that doesn't look that way.
I
And I think
100%
that's
agree.
what people in the rental industry need to do. But I am so excited that Lorraine has partnered with them.
Yeah.
That is
And we're going
great.
to share what we learned doing our first rent able style property at the
Good.
summit because, we had to learn. But now,
Yeah,
with that kind of as a case study, we have so much to share to make it easier for everybody.
that's great. Well, the sensory, that's for everyone.
Yes.
That's for everyone. That's not just, maybe someone that can't see. But think about it. Children love to, like an herb garden. I love to take my grandkids through my herb garden and say, smell this, they love
Yeah.
it. So
I
for all ages, I can see that. I can see that being a wonderful idea. Okay, what are your three top tips for marketing a vacation rental to reach the 60 plus market of travelers?
well, and just to point out on this, every rental owner, you are a business, therefore you are a brand. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you need to be branded. And so when you are attracting our fellow in age guests,
Uh-huh.
um, you should be marketing to what we have learned as avatars that they're looking for accessibility in the space. They're not
Mm-hmm.
looking for a lot of stairs with no handrails. They're looking
Right.
for quiet spots. This is just what we've learned. They're looking
Right.
for in-house libraries. They're looking,
In-house libraries.
they're looking for
Interesting.
quiet outdoor amenities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One level is always appealing, but you can have two. But again, you have to have it where in the photos it looks like it's easy to access.
Right.
I've seen people have these properties, and I'm sorry I'm going over this so much, but they have these beautiful stairs and there's no railing and it's a gap in between the stairs, and it immediately gives you a sense of anxiety as somebody getting a little older. I don't want to tackle those stairs to go to sleep,
Well,
so I'm not going to rent
or
it.
even with small children,
Yeah, yeah.
that it's you've got to think of safety for all ages.
Mhm. Well, we're doing a property in Carmel, California, and the primary bedroom is upstairs with stairs like this. And so we are changing the stairs so that we're friendlier to all accessing. And then we're making the main floor bedroom, which wouldn't necessarily be the primary bedroom, but we are increasing its accessibility so that if they do have different age brackets booking the house, we know where the person that needs more aging in place has a better bedroom and bathroom. It's maybe not a primary, but it still will meet all their needs. So
That's
I
wonderful.
don't know if I gave 5 full tips. Your
Oh, there was
language.
just three.
Okay, good.
It was just three markets. So you're
Okay,
good.
good. But add the language in your bio of your property. Use those key words, um, so that they know that the property has more accessibility and aging in place elements. And that could be simply like safe. Here's the words: safe,
Mhm.
spacious, comfortable, quiet, relaxing.
That's good. That's some good verbiage there to use. Um, okay, if you could give one piece of advice to someone investing in their first vacation rental, what would it be?
Start with a designer.
Yeah, it is
Honestly,
important.
a
Yeah.
vacation rental designer is different than a residential designer because they have to look at your design as a business and
Hmm.
understand the return, the ROI, but the
Hmm.
ROD, return on design. And those are two things you don't think about as a residential designer. So you really do need a specialist.
Okay, good point. Good point. Yeah, I learned a lot, like I said, with my rental, that the things that you really need to make more durable,
Hmm.
that will hold up. You can't buy the cheap,
Yeah,
or in my area here, a lot of them are buying like, which, nothing wrong with, I want to say, flea market finds, but it's just a hodgepodge. It doesn't feel luxury at all. It feels
there
found.
you go.
As
That's, yeah,
yeah, as a client put to me, he said, "This is just found. This stuff is just things they found and they put on the wall." And are used as a door, and he said it doesn't even go to the floor, and things like that. But and I even see in even kitchen design, most of the time people don't always want to really cook when they're on vacation, but sometimes they do. Like you said, you have a big family. It's easier sometimes to cook and eat in than it is to go out if you have a large group. So
I
I can see.
I tell this to owners too. You are offering someone the ability to rent a home. They can go to a hotel and just have a place to sleep and gather, but since you're offering a home, it's not really your decision to decide whether they should use the kitchen more or not. You're providing a home, so it should be fully stocked. Whether they want to make spaghetti or not cook all week long, that's up to the guest, but it's not really
Right.
your decision to decide for them if they shouldn't have any kitchen amenities because you're offering them a home.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
point. Good point. Well, Jessica, I really appreciate all your insights, everything that you have shared with us today, and I don't know, a lot of this is kind of eye opening too. That you don't necessarily think about. So I really appreciate you sharing this with our third phase group. And if someone was wanting to look for a place to maybe invest, what do you feel would be a good investment for a rental?
Oh boy. You know, because there's a misnomer that you have to have a beach home or a mountain home.
Uh huh.
We did a home in Green Bay, Wisconsin, And the amount of money it rents for during games is the same that some properties make in a year.
That's
So
fabulous.
you really need to think about, and one owner said this to me, and I thought this was really good advice. Think about what you would want. And if you have that interest or that passion, that's probably where you should start if you're new to the business, because you'll
Right.
be excited. So if you absolutely love going to, you know, Lake blah blah, then
Yeah.
look for a place there, because you're going to know what people love in that area, what amenities that would be great for a guest in that area, and start there. But or
Yeah.
maybe it's, in a suburb, and you know that there's a lot of corporate events and you're very familiar with that area. I would love more people to buy in High Point, North Carolina, to be really
Me
honest.
too. Me too. Maybe we us as designers should
Yes,
consider that.
we could make a
It's
killing.
yes. The only thing is just twice a year, but still
But see,
it would be nice.
I did a home there, and High Point University is there, and those parents come year round. That school is
That's
amazing.
true.
That High Point's thriving. And then you have HPXD that is bringing designers in year round. I would say, I'm
Yes.
going to go back on what I said. People need to buy in High Point, North Carolina.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Especially us designers, when we go in, we're like,
Oh my God.
I had one rental there that you knew the guy hung the picture or hung the mirrors. Nobody could see in them. They were like way up
Oh
here, and
my.
I was like, nobody could use it.
Leave
Nobody.
scathing reviews. I'm telling you, that's the only way we're going to make a difference.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. Well, Jessica, tell everyone how they can, stay in touch with you and follow you.
Oh, thank you. Please follow
Yeah,
us at Vacation Rental Designers and Duce Design. And please look into the Vacation Rental Design Summit. It's the last week of June. And Vert is the word. Lori, you have been
Bird
a
is
great
the word.
cheerleader. You're a member of our collective. We're honored to have
Yes.
you. And I see Robin on here. I haven't been able to scroll to see who else, but thank you
Yeah, I
who is
haven't.
here.
I saw that Robin's on here of our group, and yeah, I've definitely. When I get off of here, I need to sign up to come to that conference because I do really want to do
And
that.
remember,
And
you have a discount because you're a collective member.
that's right. That's right. I need to do that. And where's everyone staying there?
Well, you've got, it's different than market. So you're spending like hardly anything compared to what we spend at market.
Right.
You've got the hotels like that are normally there, but a lot of Airbnbs and VRBOs there. I'm staying in an
Yeah.
Airbnb.
Well, that's what I need to look
Yeah.
for then. Need to look for that. Well, Jessica, I appreciate you being on here and everyone on here with us. I do have a private Facebook group called The Third Phase. It's at facebook.com/groups/, The Third Phase. And if you have any more questions for Jessica about rentals or return on, or maybe you need a designer for your rental somewhere. Jessica, you travel all over the world, don't
Well, the
you?
country.
The
We're not world.
country, all over the U.S. Well, all I know is you're on a plane every
Mhm.
time I see you. And by the way, how's your ankle?
Still in a boot.
Oh,
Thank you
bless
for
you.
asking. Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry. So
That's all
sorry.
right. Thank you
Well,
for having me.
you take, yes, thank you for being here today. And I will be in touch with
All
you.
right.
Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Bye,
Thanks for coming.
everyone. Thanks for being here. Bye bye.